Away! Alright, thank you very much for the introduction, Threach. My name is a Variety Pack. I am a speedrunner of this game, some other games as well, as my name might imply. Bioshock Infinite and Skyward Sword HD come to mind, and I am joined here by...
Oh, Savage Octagon. I thought you were going to say my name.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
And we're going to be playing any percent easy for Bayonetta 2 on Rosa. We're going to talk about sort of the differences that make them as we go along, but we're about ready to start the timer. So we'll be ready to go in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so I am super stoked to be able to play this as Bayonetta 3 is coming out in October. This has been shown off a couple times at GDQ before, but both of those runs have been playing as Bayonetta. This time we're going to be playing as Rosa, who is a sort of unlockable character and canonically the mother of Bayonetta. This intro scene is pretty long, and it basically just lets the player get accustomed to the controls and stuff like that, so we can sort of explain some of the differences that we see. The big one, and the one that I hope you get the most excited for, is that we deal 3 times as much damage as any normal run with Bayonetta. That means when you see boss health bars on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and the health bars will basically melt. You will not see them for very long. Fights should not take more than 15 seconds maximum. That means when I explain a bunch of fights as we go along, you can honestly take that as a bit of a formality. We're going to be moving so fast through all of these runs and these fights that if you just want to look at the pretty colors, I totally understand. This category is fun to watch just because everything is so fast, and you're going to be witnessing a level of carnage in this game that we haven't really seen before. Now, there is a bit of a downside to running as Rosa instead of Bayonetta, that being that we also take 3 times as much damage. However, we are playing on easy, so we don't actually feel the effects of that very much. We do take damage on purpose even sometimes because, you know, it may be optimal in some specific situations rather. This is opposed to something like normal or the hard runs. Those 2 categories I do actually currently hold world record in, because taking damage there is far more dangerous. We can go ahead and, I guess, describe some of the basic mechanics we're going to be seeing throughout this run. First is that you have 2 basic attacks. You have a punch and you have a kick. Normally you're not in this mech. This is sort of a fun little mode that they add for you. Those can be sort of combined in any different which ways with a bunch of different combinations. That's how you would play as a casual player. Unfortunately, as a speedrunner, we really only see one main combo done by Rosa, and that's going to be punch, kick, punch. Once we get out of this mech, I can show you what that looks like. Here we go. So we have this big guy to fight. And so here's our punch, here's our kick, and here's our punch. We're going to see that... Oh, I just turned into the mech. We're going to see that basically throughout the entire run. We're also going to be turning to the mech at some opportune times. There's also a mechanic called Witch Time, which if you're a Smash 4 fan, you'll recognize as being sort of a dominant feature. It basically lets you slow down time around you and deal a lot of damage back to your enemies. We're going to make heavy use of that, but we don't want to use it all the time because it does slow down the environment around you. And there are definitely some occasions where taking damage will prevent you from having to slow the world down and waste a little bit of time. So we're going to start the prologue here at the World of Chaos. And one other mechanic that we need to be very mindful of at the beginning is keeping our combo up. We cannot afford to lose our combo. You can see that after we skip a couple cutscenes here. On the right-hand side of the screen, the middle right-hand side, see combo points in purple. Effectively, we need to make sure that we keep that up, and we can do that in a couple ways. Most notably by doing damage, but also by hitting down on the D-pad, which lets us taunt the enemies. This is extremely useful because we need to have a combo of at least 6,000 by the end of this chapter. That correlates to around 80,000 halos, and we want to end this chapter with around 100,000.
Right, so the combos really help you build up those halos, which are going to be the currency. And part of the difference between this and a casual run is Variety Pack is going to build up so many halos in just this first part that she's going to be able to get everything she needs for the run.
So if you take a look on the top left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the other mechanic that's very important. That's magic meter. As you deal damage, you're going to be sort of racking up these purple notches, and once you get a bar full, you can activate on the bottom screen, you see Umbran Climax, which is this gigantic mech thing. This is extremely volatile, and a Bayonetta run. Oh, I just took damage. Took damage again. That guy needs to go. Because they're incredibly powerful, the Earrings of Ruin. Basically, you spend the entire second half of any Bayonetta run of this game trying to get it because it's so powerful. And because this category doesn't really like to exercise restraint, we basically get it immediately with Rosa.
So you're going to see this mechanic a ton of times. She's just going to turn into this mech, which you see here, and the mech is super powerful, has giant guns, and it's going to be one of the best ways to just melt enemies' health.
Absolutely. We do have a boss coming up later, and you'll see that we have a bit of a different combo when we're talking about the mech instead of just playing as Rosa. That instead of punch, kick, punch, which at least sounds slightly difficult, we're going to be extremely degenerate with our mech, and the only combo we're going to use with it is punch, punch, punch. We're going to hold the last punch because bullets coming from the mech's hands actually do more DPS than anything else in the game, with the exception of one mechanic we'll be introduced to later. So you'll see here do punch, 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 and then hold that down, and we can actually do it twice if we dodge at just the right time.
We have moved from a plane to a train. And
oh yeah, don't worry about
that. The boss that we're fighting right now is called Moki. The bosses go by so quickly that you can't say the names of all of them, but they have great names.
Yeah, one other thing that's important to note about the magic meter is that in normal and hard difficulties, you only get one of them, but for easy, you get two. So they really want to maximize your damage output in easy mode. And I'm glad they did, because it makes, I don't know, it's really hard to overstate how slow some of these fights feel after you've done a Rosa run when you go back to Bayonetta, because you just do so much more damage and enemies are wiped off the face of the earth. One other thing about the mech that's important to note is that again, I'm going to use a Smash term, it has basically what's called super armor. It lets you still attack even amidst an enemy barrage of attacks, which can be very helpful when you have enemies that like to go on gigantic combo strings. So we're actually going to get hit on purpose here because we don't want Witch Time to activate. Wait for our Umbran Climax to come up, and see how I just took a lot of damage from that fireball, but because I was mech, we got to sort of armor through it. And the boss actually only has 2 health bars if you take a look at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and it is absolutely just... it's already gone. And we're not even at the top of the building yet, which is where the actual fight is supposed to end if you play as Bayonetta. At the end, as you saw with Belief, at the end of a lot of these fights, we get this very long, drawn-out cutscene where we violently take out these enemies. So once we start the Gamora one, I think we can go ahead and start maybe 1 or 2 donations off. All right, go for it.
All right, thank you so much. We have a $500 donation from Joey with no comment, but thank you so much.
I bet he has a great Reddit.
Just as a quick update on the Special World bonus incentive for Super Mario All-Star Shuffler, we are just over $750 toward the $8,000 needed to make that happen. So chat, when you are donating, don't forget to assign to those incentives.
You could probably get one more off.
All right, we've got a $15 donation from Presto, who leaves no comment, but thanks again for that donation.
Okay, so as you just saw at the end, our best friend Jean just got the soul knocked out of her at the end of that last fight, so we're going to spend the first maybe 10 or so chapters of the 16 trying to fix that problem and get Jean back to us. We're going to start chapter 1 here, and it's going to start with a fight skip. But before that, we get introduced to, thankfully, the fastest ground option, the ground movement option in the game, which is, I believe, Tiger Within. You get this ability sort of midway through Bayonetta 1, but thankfully they let us use it immediately at the start of Bayonetta 2, because I wouldn't want to run across this water normally.
Exactly. So the tiger cannot run in the water, but can run over the water. You'll see a really cool instance of this in a little bit, but you will turn back right to Rosa when you jump into the water.
Yep.
One of the things that Variety Pack is going to do quite frequently is avoid these books that come in the middle, because they're going to have text in them that, she hasn't seen since she casually played the game.
Right. So one thing about this game is that it's very conspicuous with where these fights are going to be. So this clearing that's very circular, that just screams battle to me. So I would rather not do that. So we can sort of go on the edge of the trigger and jump on the pillar, and we can avoid that fight very handily.
One of the amazing things about this run is that it's not glitchy, but there are great ways to avoid these fights.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Coming up, speaking of taking out enemies, we have our first shopping trip here, 1 of 2, and we're going to get a lot of things here to sort of amp up our arsenal. We're going to get purple candies and red candies, which increase our magic meter and damage respectively. We are also getting 3 different abilities that will be used at various different points in the run. We are first getting Hornets Within, which is basically Witch Time with a couple extra steps. We're getting Falcon Within, which lets you turn into a bird, and access to an ability called Feathers that we'll talk about later, as well as Witch Twist, which we'll see back in Chapter 8, so maybe in about 45 minutes or so. Once we leave this practice mode, we're going to equip these 3 of these candies, so we don't have to go into the menu every single time for them.
Right, and notice she had a heck of a ton of halos there in the upper right-hand corner, and she's spent a lot of money to get these things, but you'll see how overpowered they are pretty soon.
Oh, yes. So, coming up in just a second, we're going to be introduced to the final mechanic of battle that we're really going to be exercising, and that is the feathers from the crow. By having at least 2 notches of purple in your magic bar, you can turn into a crow and release a ring of feathers, which absolutely melt health bars. I will demonstrate this to you with this fight here. So we first need to get a little bit of magic with this combo. Turn into the crow, bring that, see that health bar? It's already gone. We're going to come in the middle here because I'll use these guys who are going to spawn for the second phase, and we'll just slam with the mech until we see 1 other enemy come in, and then we'll bring our normal combo in. Very good.
Yeah, so you're going to see that mech over and over and over again in this run. Just shooting bullets, taking names, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I love about this run. It is the most satisfying speedrun I think I've ever done, because everything just falls to, oh, I need to get in. There we go. So the feathers are actually better used against one-shot boss enemies, because you don't really have to worry about multitasking. And as you can see, this boss, known as Valiance, I believe, is already done. That would take a long time on any normal Bayonetta run.
Exactly. This is absolutely insane. There are some times when you're not even supposed to get through part of the fight, and you've already gone through it.
Oh yeah, there's a point down the line where we actually get soft block if we're a little bit too fast, so I'll point that out when we get there. Alright, we're going to jump down here and hopefully take out this next fight in literally 2 hits. Let's see if we can do it. There we go. And so after this we have a long cutscene conversation with a new character named Loki, who I don't care enough about to introduce, so we can get probably 2 donations off here.
Have you been naughty?
Okay, amazing. What a great boss fight. We've got a $150 donation from HitScan, who says, looking forward to the Super Mario World Shuffler. Congrats on a great event and raising so much money for an excellent cause. And we've got a $25 donation from Adorabibble, who just says, less than 3.
Less than 3 right back at you. All right, so after this, I'm going to introduce you to an idea called sort of preloading feathers. If you enter a battle that doesn't really require a cutscene before it, you can sort of have feathers preloaded into the battle. what this lets you avoid is having to actually summon them in the middle of the fight, thus losing time. So here's our feathers, here's the fight starting, and we can take out this health bar very quickly. Make sure to dodge that. And we get some sort of tertiary enemies here, but we can just use our punch, punch, punch combo with our mech. Awesome.
Yeah, the cool horses with knives, often known as, I think, Acceptance and Accolade. There's a lot of really positively named enemies in this, which is a little confusing, but...
All right, this is, I believe, Urbane, and we're going to do the exact same thing as we did to that other guy. Feathers him, and then punch him a couple times with the mech, and he's already done. You might remember that flying enemy, Glamour, I believe his name is. And he's going to be our final boss fight for this chapter. It comes in 2 phases, so we're going to make sure that the first phase is a combination of feathers when we can reach him and mech when we can't reach him. And the second phase should only last around 3 seconds. Here he is, his scary face. I didn't quite get it, but that's okay. We have enough for Umbran Climax, so we'll turn to the mech here. Deal some extra damage to the face. We'll armor through that because we don't really care about damage. Alright, we actually got more damage though than I thought we would. So the second phase, we'll preload our feathers, and he's already done.
We are going to see this boss again.
Yeah, rather unfortunately. This game unfortunately likes to give us some auto-scrollers, which they look cool, as we'll note when they happen, but not the most fun to actually perform. Alright, we can probably get 1 donation in here.
Okay, we've got a $25 donation from Abby Nees, who says, love to see Variety playing Bayonetta on GDQ and doing a fantastic job.
Thank you very much, Abby. Alright, as we start this next chapter, this game literally knows no restraints, so they're going to freely give us another candy to vastly increase our attack power. This giant red candy over here in this chest. And we're going to hold on to it for just a little bit for a boss fight coming down the line. We get introduced to a new enemy here called Enrapture, which serves to buff the other enemies, but he has so little health that we don't really care about him. We'll summon the feathers for the rest of these guys. Dodge through that. And there we go.
Yeah, in case you couldn't actually tell, Enrapture is a golden angel. There's also angels with hammers, but we don't get a good look at them because Variety Pack is so awesome.
Nothing can contain me.
All right, we have a little cutscene here where we run across the water with our tiger within form, and then we get yet another long cutscene that I don't care about with Loki, so probably can get in 2 or 3 donations.
Did you learn that trick, little
Okay, we've got a $6.08 donation from Osborne, who says, hey Variety, I've only been in the community for about a week, but it's still immensely exciting to see you at Flame Fatales. I might not have played a Bayonetta game, but I do love a good cozy Variety stream to make my day better. You're amazing at what you do, and your community is absolutely phenomenal. Good luck on the run, and stay amazing. Your friend Oz.
Thank you, Osborne. Actually, I apologize. I might have to cut that off because we have another instance of preloading feathers. We're going to be fighting 2 enemies that have a lot of health normally, but with this feather preloading stuff, one's already dead, and the second one's already dead. To make it up for you, you can go ahead and say 2 more.
Thank you very much. We've got a $10 donation from Happy Bear, who says, Variety is super talented, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's actually out in the streets fighting demons every night, TBH.
Thank you, Happy.
We've got a $25 donation from Wizard Agent Zero with no comment, but thank you so much.
All right, I actually did not do the optimal version of that fight, which is to get feathers first, but it will not end up mattering very much. Then we have another boss fight. It looks very much like the Urbane, but has, I believe, either ice or electric powers this time. And it's called Gravitas. So we'll preload our feathers, jump up. Oh, no, it's not. It's actually another belief. I know this game, I promise. And it's already gone. That is the final boss of the chapter, and it was done in about 10 seconds.
I want to call back to something earlier that you saw during the cutscene. You saw Rosa spin around and around and around. That has nothing to do with the speed of the run. It just looks really cool.
Yeah, they gave her weirdly good physics on her headscarf, so I like to abuse it because it's very flowy. All right, terrific. That is the end of chapter 2. Unfortunately, we have to go into chapter 3, which is not only an auto-scroller against Glamour that you saw before, but it's also a auto-scroller with sort of set damage thresholds that you can't pass every phase. So it's a great time for donations to get in, but let me describe what I'm going to be doing first. What's going to happen is I'm going to be dealing damage constantly through these guns. Eventually, he's going to charge me, and when I dodge, hopefully, it's not too hard to dodge, I'll try to get a double combo in, a double punch-kick-punch combo. After that happens, I should bring him down to the damage threshold, which you're not normally supposed to be able to do, but Rose is just so powerful that it doesn't really matter. Because we get him down to the damage threshold, what can happen after that is he'll charge me again, and we do not want to activate Witch Time. We want to take damage on purpose. That's because, as I said before, the entire world slows down when you use Witch Time. And because it's an auto-scroller, we definitely don't want to be here for any time that's not necessary. So we're going to dodge a couple boats here. He's going to charge me in just a couple seconds. Come on. Don't be shy. There we go. All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. There it goes. If I shoot him, it shouldn't be doing any more damage, and I'm correct. So, Octagon, I believe you wanted to say how much you like this set piece, though, before we get to donations.
I really do, because, I mean, how often do you get to fight on a giant tsunami and then have the world come crashing down around you and avoid buildings? I think it's just so cool.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more wild set pieces of the game. There's one that I do like a little bit more. So this is the one we're going to take damage on purpose on. And phase 2 is going to be basically the same thing. So we can probably go for 5 or 6 donations.
All right, we've got a $25 donation from Rocky12799 who says, last donation of the weekend, let's hit that special world bonus, less than 3. And for those keeping track at home, we are just over $900 into the $8,000 needed to meet that incentive for the special world bonus during the Super Mario All-Stars Shuffler. So if you are interested in seeing that happen, don't forget to assign your donation to that incentive when you make a donation today. We've got a $25 donation from Bridgers from PA who says, love all the Flame Fatales. What a great cause to raise money for. Good luck to all. Nox sends in $25 and says, Snorlax is love, Snorlax is life. We've got a $50 donation from Steph who says, Malala Fund is best fund. And we've got a $25 donation from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, was that
it?
Sorry, you can go for a couple more.
Thank you. Sayat sends in $25 and says, less than 3. What about less than or equal to 3? And Kelly sends in $30, and Kelly's response is less than 3.
All right.
Lots of love in these donations.
Oh, absolutely. I'm loving it. So this last section, phase 3, is a little bit different than the others. We're going to be facing against 3 of the Glamours at the same time. 2 of them can luckily be easily taken out. The final one will require a little bit more explanation. The first one that will appear on my left we'll take out with a mech combo. The one on the right we're going to take out with normal punch-kick-punch combos because we want to bring our magic meter back up. And then for the final one, we're going to use our first candy of the game, and you're going to see how truly terrifying the candies are once we start using them. Unlike most sort of shoot-'em-up games from maybe the 90s, when you mash the shoot button, you actually end up doing more damage than if you just held it down. So we're going to pop a red candy to increase our damage and turn to the mech and just mash the shoot button, and you'll take a look at the health bar on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. It will not exist for very long. And that is that.
Yeah, so the 2 kinds of candies, the red increases the damage and the purple increases the magic, right?
Yes, exactly. We get another long, drawn-out cutscene here, so maybe 2 donations more.
All right, we've got a $347 donation from LZ Moto, who says, less than 3 to my partner during their last volunteer shift. This should bring my total up to my favorite ghost Pokemon, Marshadow the Gloom Dweller. And we've got a $75 donation from Cow Subalu, with no comment, but thank you so much.
All right, so Chapter 4 is going to begin with yet another fight skip. It does not avoid a skip on a circular platform this time, but it is still one that we can skip. After we get through these opening cutscenes here, we'll see that there's a bridge in front of us. That bridge is home to the fight, so we want to skip it by jumping on these rooftops over past the bridge. And we can use the crow form for something else that's not actually feathers. Can you believe it? Once we knock this tower down, thereby destroying the city more than it already is, we're going to use our second candy, a big purple candy, which effectively gives us 1 free use of the mech at the beginning. If the fight goes properly, we should have a couple notches of magic left for the boss fight that comes after for feathers. So let's see, we can go into the menu here, grab this. It'll force us into the fight, and hopefully we can take it out. Ooh, there's 1 enemy left. That's unfortunate. That's okay, though. It's, as you've probably ascertained by this point, it is not too difficult to get magic points up.
I really hope nobody lives in these cities, honestly.
They do, and they shouldn't, probably. All right, so we're going to come up, slash them a little bit, and start our feather onslaught. Goodbye. I might as well say here, this is really the reason that I really enjoy running this game, specifically this run, because, I was doing Bayonetta for a while, and it took a little bit too long. My hands were having to do a little bit too much mashing, and as a musician and a runner of other games, I didn't really want to subject my hands to that. So this was a perfect medium, and I'm so glad I found it, because it is by far the most satisfying speedrun I think I've ever partaken in. So, I mentioned before that the mech has this property of being able to sort of go through enemy attacks, armor through enemy attacks, and that's going to become very apparent here, because we have our first fight against the Lumen Sage, or Balder, who is canonically Bayonetta's father / your husband. The entire fight is going to be bring up a red candy, bring up your mech, and this fight should be over in no more than 15 seconds. Balder has... man, I wish I could have gotten that. That's okay. Balder has this very unfortunate property of having really long combo strings that you can't really dodge your way out of very easily. So we want to absolutely make sure we get through those fights as fast as possible, otherwise he can waste more time than if you need to go back to the store to buy another candy, for example.
I think the fact that he is Balder is like a giant spoiler, but no, we just told you.
Oh, whoops. No, we learn it by the end.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, spoilers for Bayonetta 1. That is the final boss of Bayonetta 1, so it's a little bit confusing when we start playing this game and start seeing that name thrown around. Alright, Chapter 5 begins with the worst transformation in this game. It's, I believe, the snake within. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I believe it is the snake within, or the eel within, maybe.
It might be Cobra. It's one of those.
Oh, it's Cobra.
Yeah, so the Cobra is really obnoxious because you have to mash B in order to dash with the Cobra. The only problem is you steer with the right stick, so you find yourself constantly moving your thumb between the right stick and the B button, and it's just really awkward to do. So keeping this snake in a straight line is legitimately some speedrun tech that you have to practice. It feels a little bit demeaning, but what can you do? So coming up after this little cutscene here where we start building a bridge, we get introduced to the first hell enemy of the game, for lack of a better term. Unlike the first game where you mainly focused on fighting enemies from Paradiso, you're fighting enemies from Inferno this time. The first one, very aptly named, is called Pain. He's a big demon gear guy, which sounds scary, but we'll basically just do the same thing that we did to everyone else. We don't start with any magic, so we're going to wait a little bit, deal a little bit of damage, dodge, and start unloading the feathers. There we go. There's the dodge. There's the feathers. And here's the rest of the fight.
There he goes.
Awesome. We have a long drawn-out cutscene here, so you can probably fit in an extra donation.
All right, thank you. Wamislow sends in $10 and says, "Good luck, Variety. This game is way cooler than Red Steel."
Ooh, no, them's fighting words, Wameslow.
We've got a $50 donation from Sam with no comment, but thank you very much. Christine Dreams sends in $25 and says, "Kept an eye on Frame Fatales for the past couple of years and so happy to see the program flourish. Thank you for another wonderful event. Less than 3.
So there's a very annoying cutscene with Loki again here, but we can skip a little bit of it by going up here instead of starting the conversation down at the bottom of the stairs. There's a little bit of walking we have to do at the top of this segment, so the more of that we can avoid at the end, the better. That being said, it's yet another Loki cutscene, so you can probably get another 5 donations off.
Loki is truly the leader of cutscenes here. We've got a $25 donation from Hermione Garner, who says, "Let's crush that milestone. Can't wait for the Mario Shuffler later tonight and all the other great runs still to come. Thanks for a great event, everyone. Less than 3. And let's get a quick update on the progress toward the special world bonus for the Super Mario All-Stars Shuffler run later tonight. We are at $940 out of 8,000 to make that happen. So if you are donating and you want to see more Flame Fatales, don't forget to assign that donation to the incentive to make that happen.
It's not like that.
We've got a $25 donation from Trory, who just says, "Woo!"
That's what I did.
And Dead Underworld sends in $25 and says, "Less than 3.
Okay, this next fight might have a bunch of people in chat be saying orb, which I'm totally cool with. This is actually a relatively annoying fight for a couple of reasons. The main one being it's on a circular platform, so you might actually use your punch-kick-punch combo and knock enemies away and not actually kill them. So you'd always have to keep an eye on who's on screen, who's actually alive, and who's dead. The second one being you can't actually use your magic here because you need to save it for the fight that's coming up later. After this, we're going to be playing as Loki for a little bit, finally being useful, and all we need to do is jump away from this big guy that's chasing us. After that, we have one of the harder fights casually, actually. We fought Urbane and Gravitas separately before, but not together. We're going to make use of another small red candy and turn into the mech, thereby allowing us to armor through all of their attacks because they're relatively fast attackers. So we want to make sure that we have all of those preparations in check, and then we can go ahead and rip through that fight as we have all the others. Loki's going to make us a little pseudo bridge here with his magic. I'm not totally sure how that works, but right after that, we can get that fight underway. There's our candy, as you saw on the bottom left, and those are the health bars going away. Terrific.
And done.
That fight can be a little bit stressful when you're playing as normal Bayonetta, just because you do have the Star Fox costume at that point, meaning that you do a little bit more damage per second, but your Umbran Climax is not nearly as strong as Rosa's, so you do have to make sure that you're not taking damage as you keep going. Chapter 6 is another auto-scroller level, which is a little bit unfortunate, same idea as Chapter 3. He has this really obnoxious attack that he can do, where he leaps through the tower to try to stab you. Again, that's not very dangerous for us in terms of the damage that it does, but it is in terms of time, so we're going to try to keep this stun lock on him, this punch-kick-punch combo, and hopefully he does not try to do it to us. And it looks like we have it under control. Awesome. Okay.
Nice.
After this, we have the second phase, which is basically just turn into mech and start unloading. So with that and the long drawn-out cutscene that comes afterwards, you can probably get another 3 donations off or so.
Okay, we've got a $25 donation with a very sweet message from Mr. Octagon that says, "Great run, Variety. Thanks for bringing my wife into this wonderful community."
Aww.
She's been terrific to work with.
We've got a $250 donation from Anonymous that just says, "Shuffle, shuffle, 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 shuffle." And don't forget, folks, to assign your donations to the special world bonus for Super Mario All-Stars Shuffler. We have surpassed the $1,140 mark out of $8,000 to make that happen. So let's keep them coming in, folks.
Take a couple more.
All right. We have a $600 donation from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you so, so much. Seaside and Funky send in $25 and say, "Happy to support this great cause to help give other girls some of the opportunities I've received as a lifelong learner."
All right, Chapter 7 will start with a giant manta ray. I believe his name is Insidious. It's another auto-scroller fight. A lot of the big fights tend to be. And you would think that it's the only fight in the chapter because it takes so long, but it's only one half of the chapter, which is rather unfortunate. That we're going to start off by actually taunting it. It does more than just extend your combo. It also lets enemies move just a little bit faster, which is exactly what we want to start this first phase off a little bit sooner than you're supposed to. If you are
Go ahead.
If you are a Zelda fan, you'll be feeling quite at home right now with these eyes that we need to hit over and over again. There are 3 of them in total, and they all have about 1 bar of health.
Yeah, so we're getting definite Goma vibes here, if that rings a bell for anyone. And if you can see the underside of Insidious, it looks like a giant skull. And this is probably one of my favorite things. The game has such cool designs in it.
Oh, absolutely. It's over-designed, but not untactfully, I guess. Another thing that you may have seen is that there were a bunch of missiles that were being shot at me at one point. We can technically, we can dodge those with Witch Time, but it's another instance of not actually wanting to do that because it would slow down the process of getting through the auto-scroller a little bit too much. We'll do the same right here. Hopefully not get hit by any of these. We actually did, but that's fine. As long as we don't use Witch Time, we won't be losing time. We're going to purposefully swim into this black hole-ish thing here, so we can knock the eye out of the sockets and take its last life. As tempting as it is, we do not want to use Umbran Climax here. We want to use just your normal run-of-the-mill punch-kick-punch combos because we need to keep our magic meter up for the remaining fights that happen in this chapter. We have another drawn-out cutscene, so you can probably get 2 donations off.
Okay, Crimson Decoded sends in $40 with no comment, but thank you for your donation. We've got a $50 donation from Dragonista, who says, "This donation is for Artegu. She just woke up and decided to saunter across the laptop I was watching Flame Fatales on, turning the power off. Obviously, she wants more money to go towards helping girls learn about technology. Less than 3.
Terrific. All right, sorry.
This part's going to serve actually some more Zelda vibes because we're going to go inside Insidious. So it's kind of a worse, meaner version of Lord Jabu Jabu.
Oh, meaner for sure. And this is where we start really transitioning from a lot of our heaven enemies to our hell enemies. We're going to meet sort of the standard run-of-the-mill enemies. We're going to be of the infernal world. Luckily, they're
these
not.
little guys are called Hatred.
Yeah, very aptly. And we're going to use our second small purple candy here. You might wonder why we need so much magic, and the answer is we get to fight Baldur again. So we're going to start running over here. We're going to activate another candy, so we have full 2 bars of magic. And we're basically going to take him out the exact same way we did before. He has not learned from his mistakes. So we're going to jump over to this very circular clearing, turn on our our red candy, and start wailing away.
And definitely avoid the combos as well.
Oh, yeah, that's the other benefit of mech. And he's already done. So, this boss might look familiar. I believe it's Sapentia from the first game. we're going to see a lot more of those as we go along, but this is yet another drawn-out cutscene because this game loves its spectacle. So enjoy the pretty colors and the nice music, and I think 2 donations is good here.
Okay, let me just take a quick second to let you all know about the Yeti, who's one of our sponsors for Flame Fatales 2022. They create amazing merch, apparel, and vinyl for video games and pop culture. From this event, $5 from every shirt and then $4 from every pin and sticker will be donated directly to Malala Fund. You can find out more at www.theyeti.com.
All right, so as we head into Chapter 8 here, we're going to probably need a little bit of serious time. This involves the most difficult trick of the run. It's called Infinite Witch Twist. You might remember Witch Twist, actually, from all the way back in Chapter 1 when we bought that technique. It lets you basically shoot up high like this, but if you cancel it at just the right time, you can do it continuously. So if you see that golden waterfall over there, we're trying to get from all the way over here to all the way over there. So let's see if we can do it. I'm going to give it about 3 or 4 tries. And that'll do it. Nice.
Excellent. Yeah, that was one of the time-saving things, is figuring out how to get that into one long witch twist as opposed to stopping on a side platform and then starting another one.
Yeah, so that saves us a little bit of running and a little bit of fights. Unfortunately, though, we are greeted with this enemy, and if you've played Bayonetta 1, you might get some unfortunate memories back. This is Gollum. He was a very obnoxious enemy in the first game. He basically terrorized you as you tried to solve normal puzzles. Thankfully, they streamlined it a little bit in this mode, or in this game, rather. If you're wondering exactly what we're doing here, the plot as it currently stands is that we're trying to rescue our friend Jean from getting the soul knocked out of her, as I said, all the way back there. And we're trying to open a portal to hell. We'll see it in just a second, actually. It's basically just a giant purple pyramid. That enemy that I just beat, by the way, he is one of the enemies that can really get you in a combo loop. So by using the mech and armoring through his attacks, we don't have to worry about that too much. Okay, so that purple thing in the background, that is the gateway to hell. And it's locked currently. It's not even locked. It's completely boarded up. So we're going to basically catapult ourselves towards it and try to break that barrier as fast as possible. Octagon, do you want to mention that little thing that I did right there?
Oh, what you avoided?
Yes.
Yeah, so a variety pack was avoiding these little dark colored crystals. You might not have even seen them. They're witch hearts, and they're kind of like, again, Legend of Zelda pieces of heart that can help you, but they have little tutorial text, like, you got a silver rupee, woohoo, but you got a witch heart. So you've got to make sure not to have those. They slow you down.
Yep.
Again, opening another bridge to another dimension, to the past. There you go.
Here's another very circular clearing that we can skip around using the crow. Again, like, these fights go so quickly that actually doing the fights doesn't actually take that long, but we do want to be optimal here, since the world record for this run is extremely low at, I believe, 1 hour and 18 minutes, which my estimate is 1:30, and my PB is around 1:24, so we have a couple annoying enemies coming up that look like squids. I don't actually know their names, if I'm being honest. We can preload feathers as well as beat the snake, thankfully, and we can turn into the mech and take out these guys because they also can bring you into a giant combo string. Not ideal. We are not done with Gollum yet, unfortunately. After we enter this portal again, we have a nice little running sequence away from him. Thankfully, it is mostly just for spectacle, and you get to just stay on the inside corner here and just hold one direction. If this was Bayonetta 1, they'd have you do all these quick-time events that could instantly kill you, so I'm thankful that they made it a little bit more accessible this time around. Coming up, we have another fight against one of the pain enemies, those gear guys. But last time we couldn't preload feathers, if you remember. This time we can, so hopefully this fight goes a little bit faster than that last one.
You think you would have learned the first time?
Okay, and we can illustrate exactly what Octagon was talking about before with this catapult as well. By starting this little segment here, we can jump through. There's a red crystal that you see just in front of me, and I want to avoid it with all my hearts because, like Octagon said, it basically just wastes my time. It's technically a good item. It's a heart piece. Get 4 of them and your maximum health increases, but we don't really need it in easy, especially on easy.
Performance might make the back page reclassified.
So this next chapter is going to be kind of similar to the last, plot-wise at least. You are going to be unlocking crystals and getting portals and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, really not too much to say. You're going to see a lot of feathers, you're going to see a lot of mechs, so you can probably fit in a couple donations here.
Okay, sounds great. Carrarium sends in $58 and says, as promised, a $1 for every death. Thank you so much to Frame Fatales for having me this week. It was an absolute honor to work with such amazing, passionate individuals to raise money for an organization like Malala Fund. It was a week I'm not going to forget for a long, long time. Now let's finish strong, everyone. Go team.
There's actually a fight skip. Sorry, I apologize. There's another fight skip we can do there. That's another circular platform, so that implies that there's going to be another fight, and it falls to the same trap as that first fight skip that we did, where the trigger just doesn't extend all the way through the circle.
A variety pack just picked up a candy, by the way. She's not going to stop in many chests, but the shop isn't going to allow her to get more than one big candy, so she's got to pick up some somewhere.
Yep, I apologize for stopping the donation train, so we got time for a couple more here.
That is quite all right. The donation train can't stop. We've got a $100 donation from Aquanon, who leaves no comment, but we do appreciate that. Thank you very much. We've got a $25 donation from Anonymous, who says, I love video games, I love girls, I love feeling represented in my community. And Candy Bell Cat sends in $25 with no comment, but thank you again.
All right, here's our second and thankfully final fight against Golem here. One thing that I've actually been messing up a couple times throughout this run is that when you dodge as the crow, normally if you hit the dodge button once, you turn back into Rosa. That's fine, obviously, you avoid the damage, but you actually want to stay as the crow so you can keep doing the feathers. The way that you want to do that is just to simply tap the dodge button twice, and you can continue the onslaught as planned. Coming up here, we have a fight against the Prophet, who is very mysterious to us as of yet. Thankfully, we have 2 full magic bars, so all we need to do is pop this candy and go to town with the mech.
One of the cool things that you just saw happen was Golem basically turned into a cosmic volleyball, and we set and spiked him where the sun don't shine.
Yep, that's a reference to the first game. That's exactly how you take it out the first time. Although in the first game, I believe the difference is that there's a lot of fake outs. So your Wicked Weave people would sort of miss the volleyball a couple times, and then there's finally some. It finally pays off when you do it the last time. All right, we're going to enter Hell. We have successfully opened the gates to Hell, so now it is time to actually be in Hell. If you have a fear of bugs, I would suggest maybe looking away from the screen for a couple minutes. We're fighting a few centipedes and a giant spider crab. They are very demonized and stylized, but that may not be your bag, and I totally get it. We're gonna dodge another book there.
Sorry, librarians. They're not good in this case.
Alright, so when I say we were going to fight centipedes, I was a little bit wrong. We basically just try to dodge them as we fall to this very awesome looking death tornado, basically. Jump scare. Okay. So we have our fight against our giant spider crab friend, which I do know the name of, but I cannot pronounce it, so I'm not going to try. As we've said before, we're starting without magic, but like we said before as well, we're going to sort of dodge an attack back, and then we have enough magic for the feathers. And there we go.
I will give it a stab. Phantasmarine. Yay.
That's closer than anything I could have done. That fight is actually... Sorry.
Okay. I like big buggies, though. That was pretty good.
I see. Yeah, that fight can be a little bit obnoxious. It's one of those ones that can get you in a combo for a while. In addition to that, it can burrow underground and make itself invincible for a little. So it's good that we took it out that fast. So we get introduced to a bunch of hell demons in this particular chapter. After this fight against some pretty insignificant enemies, we're going to be fighting one of the most annoying enemies in this game. I believe his name is Resentment. Basically, it has a one-hit kill move on you, but not only is it a one-hit kill move, it's a one-hit kill move that wastes 10 seconds of your life. It's basically a beam that transforms you into a child version of Bayonetta, and then he waits about 10 seconds, and then he eats you. So we want to absolutely use our mech to try to power our way through that without having to deal with any of that, because that is obviously a run killer. Mm-hmm. Coming up, we have a fight against the very ironically named Sloth. He is the fastest character that I know of, the fastest enemy that I know of. And luckily, we have one bar of magic full, so we can power through his attacks with the mech and hopefully take him out before he gets us into any really long combo strikes. While we do that, I think we can get maybe one more donation off.
Oh, that's fantastic, because I do want to let everyone know we have just passed $125,000 total raised during this event. Incredible work, team. We are over $1,400 toward the $8,000 needed for the Super Mario All-Stars Shuffler Special World bonus. So don't forget to donate and assign that incentive if you want to see more Flame Fatales.
Cool. So coming up, we have a fight, thankfully not against Baldur. That would be a little bit too difficult for 2/3 of the way through the game. But with Rodon, the demon guy that we were talking to in the cafe where we did all our shopping. He has this move that he can do called the Stomp, which is an instant screen wipe for all the enemies on screen. We want him to use that at very specific locations in this fight. Unfortunately, it's really hard to keep that up, so what it ends up mostly being is just a fingers crossed scenario.
Right, so Variety Pack's going to try to focus on what Rodon is not focusing on, and then just hope it all works out.
That was the Stomp, by the way. It was okay that he used it there. There's a couple waves, such as the two pains at the same time, that we would love to see the Stomp in. But unfortunately, to my knowledge, it is not guaranteed.
Bonus points if anyone can recognize what we are fighting on.
Ooh, yes.
Giant Manta Ray, anyone?
Yeah, you need to say it by name, too, because it took me forever to recognize the names.
Insidious, the giant manta ray, is our platform for fighting. We've been on planes, trains, manta rays. We're going to get some really cool things to ride on soon.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so this is the one that we wanted to use Stomp on. Hopefully we get it. Awesome. Nice. We have a really long, drawn-out cutscene here where Rodon tells us that he's also after the same demon that we're after, so we can probably get 2 donations off here.
Okay, sounds great. Flora Witch sends in $25 with no comment, but thank you very much. Marsha sends in $150 and says trans rights. And Kara as a mime sends in $25 and says more Pokemons.
Can't argue with that one. Alright, so coming up is a 1-chapter fight against the demon that currently houses Jean's soul. All we're going to do is we're going to pop one of our purple candies to get halfway through our magic bar. We're going to dodge an attack and we're going to hit back a little bit until we get access to the mech. Then we're going to pop a big red candy, and hopefully that should be the end of the first phase. The second phase, although it looks scarier because it's bigger, is actually going to be a lot easier because we'll have access to mechs so often. So we're going to pop the purple candy here. Dodge this attack. Get enough. That was not exactly what I wanted to do, but that's okay. There we go. Now we can pop our red candy and take this first phase out. Here's the second phase. It looks very scary, but you deal so much damage so quickly that it doesn't really get any chances to get up on any attacks. Like, we're already done with the first phase of the fight.
Put an emote in the chat if this boss would have taken you 20 minutes to beat.
It definitely did for me. It's again one of those enemies that just has like really, really long combo strings. It has a one-hit kill move as well. So anything that we can do to avoid any of that business is thumbs up from us. Cool, and that's that fight.
Yep, so John's going to be okay, and she's going to come in really handy in later chapters, and we're going to get probably one of the best transportation modes this game has.
Yes. Before we do that, though, we're going to visit the store for the second and last time. You might have seen from my equips that we have exhausted our candy supply, so we're going to take the time to restock on that.
And if you took a look at the upper right-hand corner, money is no object.
Yeah, so you know how we said we needed 100,000 by the end of the first chapter? We currently have 500,000, so we are free to do what we like in this store. Except fight Rodon. The Rodon Platinum ticket, I believe, costs 9,999,199 halos. So, with the exception of that, all right, here's, I believe, Octagon's favorite set piece here.
Yes, this is our headless horse ride. We get a demon horse, and we basically just get to slash everyone.
Yeah.
And the proximity of the enemies determines what attack we're going to use. So we're going to just slash regularly for close enemies, and then try to get Umbran Climax as fast as we can to give that larger range attack for a faraway demon.
Yeah. I'm tempted to just let the music and the scenery speak for themselves because I think it's absolutely amazing. So I'll explain sort of a little optimization that I do, then we can get on some donations. That optimization is, when we activate Umbran Climax, we are actually in a state of constantly losing magic. That's us using our magic. So there will be times where I activate Umbran Climax, then sort of don't do anything for a while, and my magic meter will deplete. However, we know where all the enemies are going to appear. So what ends up happening is we'll save a little bit of magic left for the last enemy that comes in every given wave. That being said, I think we'll let the horse do its thing, and we can get maybe 2 or 3 donations.
All right, great. Thank you. We've got $50 from Zerios with no comment. Thanks for your donation. Knights Forever sends in $25 and says, thanks for the great show, all marathon long. We've got a $35 donation from Captain Eleno who says, more Skybills, more Shuffler, more money for girls' education, and a chance for that Snorlax? Yes, please.
Correct me if I'm
One more?
wrong. There was in one of the GDQ events, there was a giant Wooloo. Am I correct?
There is indeed a giant Wooloo available. It is magnificent. It's truly amazing.
All right, so we're just about done with this phase here. As you can see, we delayed our use of the second slash just perfectly to get that second guy. And we have our final fight against Baldur. We're going to use one of the candies that we picked up to instantly get access to the mech. And we're going to basically do the same thing as we did last time, which is use a giant red candy. The only difference this time is that we can't actually do too much damage. I think I was saying this before. If you do too much damage, basically defeat the fight before the screen transition that you see here, what ends up happening is you get soft locked. The second phase will start and there will be no enemy to face. So I have unfortunately lost a run to that before when I did not know. So I am very conscious not to ever do it again.
So she is literally can be too good for this game.
Yeah. Apparently that was a very well-known thing when I posted it in the help section and was like, oh no, what do I do? So I guess I was just late to the party. All right, so if you're a fan of Bayonetta 1, you'll get to see a lot of it, actually. Vigrid, the city of Deja Vu, is the first city in Bayonetta 1. So if you got sick of seeing a lot of horse-based enemies, you get to see a lot of flying-based enemies, as we saw in Bayonetta 1. The Inspireds and everything. Lore-wise, I couldn't exactly tell you what's going on. I could, but it would take a long time because the plot of this game is needlessly convoluted. But the first thing here...
like we're... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The first thing we're going to be doing here is basically just a gauntlet against some reintroductions to some Bayonetta 1 enemies, so... Alkion, you had a comment, and then I think we can turn it over to donations for a couple.
Yes, I think we're going back to the past to learn something about our family, but one of the small mechanics that Variety Pack is doing is she's starting a lot of her punch-kick-punch combos with Panther Strike. It kind of becomes the first hit of the punch-kick-punch and does extra damage, so you may see that split second when she's a tiger, actually.
Alright, we can probably fit 2 donations while we fight this giant boss from the first game.
All right, sounds great. I need to go back to the past myself and in fact correct what I said about the Wooloo. The Wooloo this time is small, but I think the one you may have been referring to was a large Mareep that we had for SGDQ.
Oh no, that's so embarrassing. I forgot my sheep Pokemon.
You know what? You and me both. So I think we really pulled the wool over our eyes. I'm sorry, I'll keep talking. DJ Crabhat sends in $100 and says, what a spectacular Bayonetta 2 run. Loved it and this marathon.
Oh, what a bad joke.
Where's the last guy? Okay, there he is. I'm a competitive Pokemon player, so forgetting that is honestly like the most embarrassing thing I could have possibly done this run. Like, I could have messed up this entire run, and missing the Wooloo and Mareep thing is going to be the thing that haunts me.
I think it's safe to say you're distracted, so it's probably as good of a time as any to make that mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, this game has no restraint, so it's going to give us another giant red candy here, which we're going to absolutely use, and I picked up a book. Ugh, that's fine.
Books are the worst.
Books are the worst. Support your local library.
So I think some of these enemies are called Affinity and Applaud.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. The dog-based enemies have this really annoying attack that they can do where they sort of chomp down on you. Unlike the other attacks that we've seen, they actually are a threat to both your health and your time, so definitely want to use feathers on them as fast as possible. We're going to preload feathers a little bit here before we face 2 of them at the same time. And then take the other one out with the mech.
Now, you may have noticed there looks like a shadow. There looked like a shadow of Rosa on the screen. So if you're playing as Bayonetta, Rosa joins you. But you're playing as Rosa, so Rosa also joins you.
Yes,
so
thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, you're supposed to have a mother-daughter team-up moment, but now you just have Rosa.
So we are introduced to our adversary for the run. I believe this is yet another... Wait, actually, I don't think this is a belief. It has a separate name.
Beloved, I think.
Beloved, that's what it is. So we'll see him 3 times throughout this chapter. Each one getting progressively more difficult, but nothing that we can't handle. Oh, that was close. Okay. We're going to preload feathers here because we're going to have another fight against a giant hand. Right here. And there goes that health bar. I don't know if I mentioned this actually, but when you hold down either punch or kick, you actually get to do a little bit extra more gun damage. So we're going to rely on that. We've been relying on that a lot to get in a little bit of extra damage in when we can't do so with your normal combos. This can be done quickly. I'm really bad at it, and I get mad when I fail it, so I'm not going to do it. That's another circular platform that we can avoid, so that implies another fight. And after this crumbling statue run here. We get our final fight against our adversary. He's actually a very difficult run casually, especially in the Bayonetta runs because it just takes so long. He's covered in fire this time, as we dumped him into the lava last time. And he has this really obnoxious thing that he can do where he leaps away from you and starts attacking you from there. So we're going to try to use a candy and our feathers instantaneously, so we don't have to worry about that. Very, very good.
Excellent.
This is yet another long drawn-out cutscene, so we can probably get 2 more donations in here.
Sounds great. Joel sends in $25 and says, when in doubt, support education. And Anonymous sends in $250 with no comment. Thank you very much, Anonymous, for your generosity.
I miss hearing the claps with big donations. Okay, so if you thought being the mech was not already powerful enough, this is Chapter 14, The Witch Hunts, in which we spend the entire time inside a mech. Because that was our Umbran Climax, you might be wondering what's our Umbran Climax if we're already in the mech, and that answer is the highest damage output you can do in the game. We're going to be seeing a lot of enemies that we've seen before, very big, burly enemies, and they all fall to the power of Umbran Climax. So we don't quite have it yet, so we're going to rack up some damage with our normal punch combo. And then once we get it, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, see these enemies is kind of an overstatement. We don't really see them.
we get a glance at them. A hefty glance. How about that?
This is simply the benefit of training.
This can be accentuated further by this next fight. We've seen Urbane and Gravitas together before, but never before have they died so quickly. Alright, let's see here. We just need to get enough magic to start using it, and there's one punch and it's already dead, and there's another punch and it's already dead. Oh no, it survived one more. Okay, it had like 1 HP left. Alright, terrific. After this we have a fight that I'm sort of dreading, not because it's necessarily hard, but because it has a very big time waster move that I can do. This is Sapentia from the first game. You might remember him as the terrible water boss from Bayonetta 1. What he can do is this really obnoxious attack where he leaps away from you and shoots a bunch of missiles at you, which, again, is not so dangerous for your health, but we really don't want him to do that for the sake of our speed. Let's see, so we want to use Umbran Climax as much as possible, obviously. And that health bar is just melting away, and thankfully we did not get it, so this should be the end of the fight here. Very good. We got another long drawn-out cutscene, so we can probably fit in one quick donation.
Okay, we've got a $50 donation from Zacharaz, who says, this has been such a fun marathon all week. Thanks, and 2 to all the runners, commentators, and staff. What? 2 is less than 3, right?
All right,
now
so
we're going to be fighting a giant warship who is appropriately named Warship.
Yeah, some of them are cleverer than others. The way this fight works is that he has one giant health bar, but 1/4 of them each is taken up by these little heads. 2 of these heads. Once you take out the 2 heads, this shield that you see cracking right in front of you will break down, and we'll get to finally damage the main body of the ship. Fun fact, I guess, when you're doing the Bayonetta run, you do this really obnoxious thing with this fight. All you do is you stand here, you activate one of your items that you have bought, and you basically just hold the Y button. Just like this. You just shoot randomly, and you just hold it. It takes a long time, but this is how you grind for the Earrings of Ruin in the Bayonetta run, because you just need that much money. Alright, this is... oh man, its name is covered up in my notes. basically you're going through the gauntlet of Bayonetta 1 enemies, Bayonetta 1 bosses at the moment. Let me look. Listitia, I believe.
Listitia, yeah.
Nothing can contain.
Alright, so unfortunately we don't get to be in hyper mech form anymore, but that's okay. We had a good time, didn't we? Alright, coming up next is a little gauntlet against some of the Bayonetta 1 enemies at the beginning of this chapter. So you're going to see a lot of feathers, you're going to see a lot of mech, you're going to see a lot of punch, kick, punch, you're going to see a lot of health bars go down fast. So enjoy the show for a little bit, and we can get maybe 5 to 6 donations off here.
Okay, sounds great. Just as a reminder, we are making progress toward the Super Mario All-Star Shuffler incentive, the special world bonus. We're currently sitting at about $1,600 out of $8,000 needed to make that happen. So folks, don't forget to assign your donations. If you send one in, you can assign it to the incentive. We've got a $25 donation from Lou Lang, who says, thanks for the amazing week of runs. Dr. Ray Quaza sends in $40 with no comment, but thank you very much. We've got a $25 donation from Gru Bane without comment. Thank you again. And a $150 donation from Vashiam, also with no comment, but thank you for your donation. We've got a $25 donation from Nick that says less than 3. And Wyden sends in $25 and says, this donation is in honor of one of my favorite women, my good friend Wea. We have a $25 donation from Lady Applesauce with no comment, but thank you.
All right, so after this is Temperatia. This is one of the bosses of Bayonetta 1 as well. It is extremely susceptible to feathers. You see this guy a lot at the end of Bayonetta 1, and he's already gone. Coming up, you're going to see a fight that looks very familiar if you played, again, Smash, or from the first game. The intro cutscene from the first game. We're fighting on this falling chunk of clock tower, I believe.
Not the best vehicle.
No, but at least it takes you very consistently in one direction. That was extremely fast, actually. And so now we're going to be fighting this guy named Lopter. He looks like Loki, which is very bizarre, but if I remember correctly, to create Aesir, the god of chaos, the prophet that we fought all the way back in chapter 9, needs to fuse with Loki and Lopter to get the eyes of the something. And then Aesir will be reborn and wreak havoc upon the world, or something to that effect. So we'll do our best to stop him. Now that we have successfully saved Jean, we can go help Loki with his problem. And we're going to do so very similarly to the Baldur fights that we've done before. We're going to try to get as much as we can with our magic, turn to the mech, and pop a red candy, and that should be it. Now, a running theme with this game is that, I think one of my chatters said it earlier today, it looks like you're constantly fighting the final boss, but it just never actually comes. This is a perfect example of that, because we just fought a very intense fight on a falling platform, and that is not the final fight of the chapter. We do have to face some of the most annoying enemies from Bayonetta 1 because they just couldn't help themselves. Grace and Glory.
Yes, you hate these.
I really do. I don't actually hate these guys. There's a pair of enemies in Bayonetta 1 called Gracious and Glorious. They're gold enemies, so what that means is that you cannot use witch time on them, so it's really, really annoying to fight them. And you only fight them in like these really small, compact places, and it's a very substantial reason as to why I don't run Bayonetta 1.
So I think in the story, Lopter actually killed Rosa. So Baldur is gonna, join you, or join Bayonetta, but you, to seek revenge.
Yep, and we're going to see a great example of that right now. We're going to be on a plane, you guys. So Rosa is the one currently shooting these enemies, and Baldur is the one with the massive sword here. So we get to tag team with them through this little flight section. if I say Bayonetta flight section, if you play Bayonetta 1, you might be having some uncomfortable flashbacks. In Bayonetta 1, there's this thing that happens where if you do a dodge, the entire screen flips around, and the most motion sickness-inducing thing I think I've ever seen in a video game. Thankfully, they figured out their mistake, and no longer is that the case.
Barrel roll!
So, if last chapter was a Bayonetta 1 gauntlet, this chapter is the Bayonetta 2 gauntlet. We're going to see Valor, we're going to see Glamour, and we're going to see Insidious one more time. That was a good place to take damage on purpose, because there's no other damage you can really do when he's that far away. He's giving us actually a pretty unfavorable... Okay, there we go. So you can actually use Umbran Climax with both of these characters as well. You saw that me use it a little bit with Baldur. Baldur just gets a massive sword swing, and Rosa gets these massive missiles. So part of optimizing this section is making sure that you know which one to use when. It's really hard to actually get magic in this section, so we want to be very judicious with it when we use it and when we don't use it. This has auto-scrollery vibes, it does, but some enemies will stick around if you don't kill them quickly, so we do need to make sure we're exercising a little bit of caution. Alright, here's Valor. Let's have a sword fight.
Why not?
And he's gone. Alright, so that was the heaven section of this little flight thing. So now we're gonna get the hell section. Time to see a lot of hell enemies. These guys can be a little bit annoying because their cycles actually do depend on whether or not you kill the enemies. So until we get to Insidious, which is going to be in about 45 seconds, I think we can rattle off 1 or 2 donations.
Okay, sounds great. We've got $75 from Kelpmonger, who says, one final donation, fight and win. And we've got $25 from Corrosive Frost, who says, less than 3, 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 less than 3.
I can't think of a better run to have at Flame Fatales than a woman that destroys everything. A woman that just completely gets her way through this game with no one can stand in her way. The most powerful woman I can think of.
There we go. Here's my dude, Insidious. In my notes, I just have written, poke those eyes.
Poke those eyes. Yep, we're going to be sticking with Baldur's attacks if we can, because they're very close, so we might as well. He has this annoying thing that he can do where he leaps back. He was about to do it. He was about to leap back and try to ruin my day, but thankfully we got to him first. It's just really hard to hit enemies that are away from you, because Baldur does more damage than Rosa typically. Okay, so after this little fake out with Insidious is the final fight of the game. Well, the final big fight of the game. Against Aesir. Aesir has been successfully revived, and it's up to us to stop him. So the way we're going to do that is extremely not unique. You've seen it a lot. It's just a lot more of it. We're going to pop all of our magic candies that we have. We're going to go into the menu and make... Where is it? Okay, make sure we equip this over that so we have access to even more magic when we need it. And we're going to pop a red candy and start meching this guy. And that's phase 1. Here's phase 2. And here's phase 3. I should have totally dodged that. There we go. So we're going to accomplish another gigantic feat of strength. We're going to send this satellite, I think, right back at him with nothing but our legs.
She's not skipping leg day any day.
Nope. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. And we claw him once, and we get sent to the final cutscene. Baldur and Rosa together are going to summon a creature that looks suspiciously like Jubileus, the final boss from the first game, but apparently it's not. And she's going to be instrumental in taking out Aesir by knocking, much like Jean, knocking his soul from his body. They invented a new unit just for this one fight, which is, I believe, Infinitons. So we're gonna hit him with 16,000 Infinitons of force. And Jean
That is
gets
an
to
official unit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Infinitons.
And Jean's gonna get her revenge here. She's going to summon her version of Gamora, and we get to send Aesir careening through the sky into the mouth of our dear elephant-sounding friend. If you remember from Bayonetta 1, there was this really obnoxious sequence where you had to guide Jubileus between different planets and into the sun, but thankfully, much like Gollum, they streamlined it this time.
Good snack.
Good Gamora. All right, skip a couple cutscenes, and it'll look like the credits. Unfortunately, that is not quite time. Because you technically have control in the credits, we're not quite done yet. There's really not too much to say about this. The only thing that we need to make sure that we have is enough magic for the final sort of mini section of the credits. When you have magic, you can also use an ability called Bullet Climax, which basically means that you can sort of auto-target onto faraway enemies without actually having to be super close to them, like this. This is Bullet Climax. We need to have enough magic by the end so we can use that on some far-off enemies and save a little bit of time right at the end. Other than that, though, we are just about done, and we get to go through this little fun credits auto-scroller. So I guess we can start wrapping it up a little bit. Octagon, is there anything you'd like to say at the end?
Just that this was an amazing run to research and watch. A variety pack is fantastic at making this look way, way easier than it is. So thank you for bringing me on, and thank you, Flame Fatales.
Yeah, I hosted a charity speedrunning event very recently, and I was woefully unprepared for how much effort and preparation it took to actually get that up and running. So I can't imagine all the tech and all the crew and all the staff working here to make an event like of this magnitude possible. So I thank each and every single person on that team, because this is truly an amazing event, and seeing this much money raised from the Lala Fund is really spectacular. We're just going to be fighting a couple more people here. It's giving us a progress report as we go through the credits as well. You'll see that combo damage time thing, basically grading us on how well we're going through these credit sections. I honestly don't know the fail conditions, but every so often I'll fail one of these for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but it's not that big of a deal because this is mostly just an auto-scroller. Coming up next, we get a reminder of what it was like to be in the mech at 100% of the time. It was very nice for a little bit, but good things can only be here for so long. Oh, something that I want to complain about. You probably saw me mashing through these verse card things at the end of every chapter. Those are basically just cards that are let you fight certain levels in Tag Climax, which is where you get to play with another person. But for the speed run, you have to like mash through all of them, which is just unnecessary. It just makes my thumb tired, and that's all it does. So coming up is the last section of the credits. So it's a little bit hard to tell you when time is, but I'll do my best. It's when the flashes start happening after we take out the last enemy with our guns and bullet climax. So let's do our best here. It's about to come up. We're going to take out the enemies on the ship first normally with our punch, kick, punch combo. And then we're going to turn around and hit the enemies that are going off screen. There's one, there's two, and now we bullet climax these guys over here. And that is time. I wish I was timing that. That seemed like a good run.
Yeah, that was about 124.30, so that's really close to your PB, right?
That's like 6 seconds off PB.
Amazing.
I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. I guess we have a little bit of time to say some stuff right at the end. Thank you again for letting me run this. Everyone in my community will know, and a lot of production will also know that I was extremely nervous to be doing this run so late in the marathon, but with the support of everyone in the server and everyone in the community, it's been truly one of the best experiences that I can imagine in recent memory. I've been a variety pack. I stream on Twitch every so often, though I might be taking a break for a while. I've done a lot of practice. And Savage Octagon, you stream Dr. Mario, is that correct?
I do, yeah. Dr. Mario and other sort of retro games that I'm terrible at.
That's pretty much it from us. So if there's nothing else to say, thank you very much again for letting us on here and showing off how to truly, truly be fast.
All right, thank you so much. That was an incredible run from a variety pack. Wow, honestly, just a super fast run. Very, very, very awesome job. And thank you again for showcasing that for everyone here at Flame Fatales 2022. We are not yet done for the night, folks. We've got a few more runs coming up and we want to see more. So don't forget to keep those donations coming in and don't forget to assign them to the special world bonus in the Super Mario All-Stars Shuffler run. Just coming up in a little bit here. We are at $1,943 out of $8,000 needed for that run. Fun fact, the $8,000 was set as the incentive because there are 8 levels in the special world. So if you'd like to see that happen, and I know I would, please donate. It all benefits Malala Fund, and we are so excited to see more content. Thank you to the Knight of Knee, who donates $50 and says, I need that Wooloo plushie. You saw it here first, folks. It's incredible. It's absolutely amazing. All of the prizes that we've got in store for you can be found on the Games Done Quick website. Go over there, check out what's available, and consider making a donation so that you can enter in to win. As a reminder, we are here to benefit Malala Fund. Malala Fund is working for a world where every girl can learn and lead. They believe local educators and activists are best suited to address the problems girls face in their communities. Malala Fund invests in their work and collective power to create change, hold leaders accountable, and give girls the tools they need to advocate for themselves. From supporting STEM education for young women in Pakistan to creating safe learning spaces for girls in northern Nigeria, your gift today is an investment in Malala Fund programs that directly benefit girls. So thank you to everyone who has donated so far. Thank you to Stephen, who sends in a $35 donation with no comment. Thank you to Anonymous, who sent in $25, again with no comment. Thanks to SD Weasel, who sends in $25 and just says less than 3. We've got a $25 donation from You Are Enough, who just says trans rights. Pet Took sends in $5 and says, less than 3. Ma'am, less than 3. Thank you so much to Pete, who sends in $100 with no comment. So with that, folks, we are going to take a quick break. Stick around, and there is more Flame Fatales to be seen. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Flame Fatales 2022. As we round out the end of the marathon, my time here is coming to a close, but congratulations, everyone, and well done for raising over $125,000 so far during this marathon to benefit Malala Fund. Make sure you stick around because we've got more content for you, and we are so excited to present it to you. I leave you in the very capable hands of your next host, but thank you so much to everyone who has already donated and made this event possible. So I wish you all very, very well, and we will see you soon.
And speaking of your next host, hi, I'm Zokuba and I'm back, and it is my absolute pleasure to be your host for our next run, Titanfall 2. Folks, if you haven't seen a Titanfall 2 run before, what you need to know is that things move fast and the run moves faster. You'll want to strap in because Sapphire and Pink is going to zoom us through this game. Trust me. But before we get into that, I would love to let you all know that this Titanfall 2 is not our final run of the night. I don't know if you can believe it. I have a hard time believing it myself, but Titanfall 2 is not our final run of the night. That final run is going to be Super Mario All-Stars Shuffler, run by Skybills. I've had the pleasure of watching Skybills run this earlier. And oh my gosh, it's hectic, it's chaotic. And you know what? You can make it even more hectic and chaotic because we have an incentive right now open. If you can meet our incentive of $8,000, Skybills will have to add the special world to her lineup. Right now we're at $2,200 out of $8,000. And I hear we have only until about like a third of the way into the run to get that met. But the sooner we get that in, for sure, the spicier this will be. And if you're looking for something to donate to, we have some amazing prizes. Wizoko, for example, gets it. They send in $25 saying, have you ever dated a person for a really long time? Maybe their name was something like Pillow. And maybe one day you meet another person you think is kind of fluffy. You end up leaving Pillow for this person. Maybe their name is something like Snorlax Pillow. That's right. $25 minimum donation gets you eligible to win that amazing Gotta Catch 'em All prize pack. That Snorlax plushie. I'm sorry. I'm just being told that it was sent, not Snorlax plushie. I'm very sorry. My apologies to Sent. But that amazing Gotta Catch 'em All prize pack that Sent and Frozen Flygon showed off in our last prize segment. Minimum $25 donation. You can put it towards the incentive when you donate and be entered to win this prize. So if you're looking to make that donation, !donate in chat. I have another donation here for you all. Miss Dells sent in $25 saying, let's get that Mario run. You know what? I agree. I'm really excited. I've been excited all week for this. This has been an event full of great runs, and we've saved the best two for last. And speaking of the best two, chat, I'm going to need you all to take about like a step, maybe 20 back, just for safety's sake. We good? Okay. Pilot Sapphire and Pink, ready for action? Stand by for Titanfall.